Hey, today I'm talking to Chet Morjaria, one of the original UK CrossFitters. He's been around a while. I think he knows just about everyone. So, Chet, can you give me a little information on your personal background, maybe how you got into training and what got you into CrossFit?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thanks very much for having me on, James. Really appreciate it. Okay, yeah. So not a CrossFitter anymore, but this is kind of where it all began, and CrossFit is kind of where it all began as well. So I'm going to give you a slightly longer version than you're probably expecting, James. I hope
Yeah,
that's all
go for
right.
it, man. Go for it.
So I've always been that slow, weak kid that got last, that was last to get picked for teams and all that kind of stuff. I probably still am. Um, but all that kind of meant is that, I didn't really enjoy these kind of team sports at school. I just kind of enjoyed what I enjoyed. So I tried out loads of stuff and found out that I kind of like riding bikes and I like, hitting balls about and stuff like that. And kind of just literally through, not really loving the stuff that I was doing at school and just working out that, hey, I enjoy this, I'm going to do more of it. So I got into tennis that way, and that was my big sport for quite a while. And that's how my journey into fitness and strength began as well. So uh, I enjoyed tennis, but just like everything else, I was pretty rubbish at it. So, just tried to get better. It was frustrating, and I kind of looked at, well, if I get a bit better at this, I'm probably going to enjoy it even more, and vice versa. So I did what I still do to this day, and just immersed myself in, everything tennis. So like ate, slept, did everything related to tennis, read as much as I could about it, got myself under a whole bunch of coaches, and because of this kid that didn't really move that well, I pretty much had to try every trick in the book to get better at what I do. And I'm sure a few of the listeners can empathize with that too. But um, as I kind of delved into it a little bit deeper, that I realized that the fundamental thing that I was missing is getting stronger, and that's the base of it all. And getting fitter to play the sport. So this whole thing about do you get fit to play a particular sport? Are you training for training's sake, or whatever? So at that point, it was like, right, you know what? I want to get fit to play my sport. I want to enjoy it more and be better at it and all this kind of stuff. So I was kind of getting into functional movement then, really because it just kind of felt right. You know what I mean? So there was a, I call it a gym, but it was really like a kind of an afterthought at the tennis club. And my first deadlifts were like dumbbell deadlifts, and just
Nice.
that's all there was. But it just felt right. It felt, picking stuff off the floor felt right. Doing pull-ups and dips felt right. So I moved away from the kind of rite of passage that is benching and bicep curls, and actually moved into stuff that felt like it was having an impact without having much idea of what the hell I was doing at that particular time. So moving into that and just kind of thinking about, well, hold on a minute, this is getting me stronger. Oh, this strength thing is helping me with my tennis. That started to shift in the right direction. And then around that time, I was kind of frequenting forums because I'm a geek, and just because it was kind of, part of what you do at that time, part of my learning. And someone mentioned CrossFit, and it was literally, one of those kind of things. Someone mentioned CrossFit. I went to CrossFit.com, and we're going to talk about this probably a little bit more in a bit because it's something I'm really passionate about. But that created just a whole bunch of connections in my head. It connected everything that I believed in at that particular time, and that just really resonated with me. So that at that time was home, and just it kind of went from there, really.
So, do you know when about that was? Was that like 2007-ish or when you found CrossFit? 'Cause
Well, I was at the first CrossFit cert, level one cert outside the US. So I think that
okay.
was 2007, 2008. A whole bunch of guys that the community, and are the esteemed CrossFit coaches of today were at that cert. But not saying that I'm one of them, by the way. I'm just saying that they were there. But yeah, let me think. Now, all of my tennis stuff probably would have been earlier than that, and then yeah, getting into CrossFit would have been probably around then, a year or two before then. Yeah.
All right, awesome, man. I actually had a pretty similar approach. I remember trying to find CrossFit, and I was a skinny guy. He was into kickboxing. Was like, man, I need something to get me stronger. Tried the bicep curls. Didn't really felt like it helped my kickboxing.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of fell into it. I remember specifically watching the movie 300 and being like, whoa, those guys are jacked. What are they doing? And then you look 300, Mark Twight,
Yeah.
CrossFit. And yeah.
Definitely. So many people's pathways, I think, into CrossFit, and then I guess CrossFit is a gateway and a pathway into so many other things. Like from then on, CrossFit put a barbell in my hand more times, more frequently, and doing better things than I'd been doing before. There's a guy actually, you may know of him, Daryl Edwards, maybe another cool guy to get on the podcast. He's basically the paleo guy. The fitness explorer is his nickname, and I know that his pathway was exactly the same as yours. It was 300. Those guys are jacked. What the hell? I want to be like that. Mark Twight, CrossFit, and then CrossFit for him was a gateway into paleo in that world. CrossFit for me was a gateway into being able to dip my toes or immerse myself in a whole bunch of cool strength stuff, and having the facilities and people around me to do it with.
Yeah, CrossFit is, I think it's the best gateway drug of fitness. Yeah,
it's a good gateway drug.
Yeah, good week. All right, so I know you've got some brands that you work with. First and foremost, I always see your caveman. And where did the caveman come from?
You know what? It's not that dissimilar to the CrossFit story. Like, I found it somewhere on the internet, and I'm ashamed to say that I stole it. That's it. It's just one of those things. Again, it resonated with everything that I was at that particular time. It's like some kind of punk, spiky haired dude wearing sunglasses in a squat. This is for people that haven't seen it. I'm just trying to paint a picture here, holding like a barbell as a spear, and there's like a bumper plate as a shield, wearing pretty much minimal clothing. And anyone that knows me knows this isn't going anywhere dodgy, don't worry. Anyone that knows me knows that I'm mostly found in shorts and flip-flops. So, it really just like painted a picture, exactly that, painted a picture in just one kind of little icon. So just stuck with it. Plus I can't be bothered to change my Facebook profile picture, so that's been my picture for the last, I don't know, 6-7 years or something.
All right, so let's see, I know you sometimes hold seminars in CrossFit Reading.
Right. I
think old school was the Functional Key forums.
That's right, yeah, the functional fitness, functional key forums, Funky, FK UK, any of those things.
Yeah. And then more recently, I'm seeing strength education and writing articles for Breaking Muscle. Can you tell me a little bit more about those?
Yeah, you know what? There's one theme that ties all of this together, really, and it's community. The FK UK forum is probably tying quite nicely to that timeline we were just discussing, because after kind of finding this scene and finding that it was kind of few and far between at that point in time, and the communities were kind of fairly sort of dispersed within the UK, that I wanted to do something half from like a selfish point of view and half from an altruistic point of view, just to kind of get some community together. So after frequenting some forums, and I think at that time it was the old CrossFit Manchester, Carl Steadman's old box, that had the busiest forum at that particular time, and then just thought, well, hey, if I could get one central place to get all these guys together, and not just CrossFit guys, because I was starting. CrossFit is great, but it's not the be all and end all. So just trying to get guys that had a similar general vision and mindset in one place, and that's how these kind of forums started. So that sense of UK community has travelled through to everything else that I do. So just to talk about the two things that you were looking at there, I'm wearing my my Breaking Muscle t-shirt, by the way.
Nice.
Shameless plug there. But then you're wearing your East Kent CrossFit t-shirt,
Yeah,
so it's fair, right? So yeah, Breaking Muscle UK. Actually, as well as writing for them, I'm managing editor of Breaking Muscle UK as well. And that followed that pathway. So started off as a guest writer. It was lucky enough to, that my first couple of articles were relatively popular. So moved on from there to be like a full-time, like a staff writer, if you like. And then an opportunity came up to become to get on the editing team. So worked as hard as I could to get on board with Breaking Muscle. And as time evolved, now we've created this UK community, and it really is exactly that. Like the whole idea behind Breaking Muscle UK is to provide like a trusted, independent, relevant resource to the UK crew, and we've got some really good feedback so far. A lot of the guys that I chat to at competitions or courses or whatever are like, hey, it's really cool to see a UK resource that I can rely on. And the whole idea behind it is for the community to have a voice in it. Like, so tell me, write to us, let us know, what do you want to see more of? What do you want to read? What do you want to learn about more? Because there's no point us just throwing out information. The whole point is that it needs to connect with you and be there for you. So that's the general idea, and it's working.
Yeah, excellent. So just quickly, can you give a shout out to some of the writers, some of the coaches involved with that, and just a little thing. Maybe people can find them out, and I'm sure they're all interesting people, and not specifically CrossFitters. I think that's a really cool thing as well, that you've got a lot of subject matter experts involved with it, haven't you?
Definitely, right. And we already talked about the fact that CrossFit is this kind of gateway into a whole load of other things for a lot of people. And then some people might come to our site for looking at their sport, but then actually find out that, like we started to speak about before with the connections, actually there's connections between something else. There's connections between like what an endurance coach might be talking about and what a strength coach might be talking about if you look deep down, and it's those connections that are probably going to help to build up their understanding more than anything. So yeah, I'm actually just pulling up a list of my coaches just so I don't forget anyone. Really cool. So a couple of things, and I'm going to give you a bit of an exclusive as well. So we've got, let's see, some names that you might recognise. Andy McKenzie, UK strength coach. Ben O'Malley, the guy behind Monkey Box. We have Daryl Edwards, the guy that was talking about. He's behind the Health Unplugged Summit, the Fitness Explorer. James Breeze, the guy behind the Strength Matters, another community doing fantastic stuff within the UK. Jowsey, who many of the CrossFit community will know and love or hate. Let's see, Mike Catris, dude behind Kratos. Tommy Wood, he's an incredible guy. He's a medical doctor, but he's also a functional fitness coach and a nutritionist. So in terms of creating those connections, this guy is gold. Rich Kite, he's behind a lot of the kind of UK Olympic weightlifting community stuff. And I've missed out a whole load of people as well. So I better give a shout out to John Clark, actually, because I was on his podcast a while back. He's a strong man and a strength coach. You should listen to this guy. He squats 300 for triples. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, just a few guys. And the exclusive is, and I don't know when this is coming out and what I'm allowed to say, but I'll say it anyway. I might get in a lot of trouble with Jack Hennigan and Tom Bold for this. But at the British Championships in July, Breaking Muscle UK are going to be helping out there by running the education tent. So you're going to actually get a chance to speak to, listen to, and meet a bunch of these guys in person right there. So that's on the 4th and 5th of July. Maybe if I give them a shameless plug, they won't be so annoyed at me, right? So that's on the 4th and 5th of July in London. So look it up and hook up with it. It'll be a good event.
Yeah, awesome. I'm definitely going to have to come to that now. I see you can still get tickets, right? I know those things sell out pretty fast nowadays.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, mate. See you there.
Yeah. So let's see.
I'll answer about strength education as well, if you don't mind, because it'd
Yeah,
be a
sure, go
shame
for it,
to
man.
leave that out. So, um, strength education is something that started with a course that I ran in CrossFit Reading, actually. But we, over the last 3 to 4 years, we've grown into pretty much exactly what it says on the tin. So we provide a learning and coaching roadmap for those that are serious about strength. Uh, so our main products or services, we have 3 courses. The strength education level 1 is the first of them, and that's a 2-day classroom and practical learning course, which is done in a kind of cert format. And all that I can say is be prepared for some unlearning, because it will redefine most people's approach to strength training. I would think. Really in a kind of curious way, in a way that I think in this, I'm going to go into a bit of a rant now, but it'll only be 30 seconds, so bear with me. But I think, in this day and age, it's quite common to look at kind of the really cool, complex programs and, just look at, kind of what you can do to get quick bang for your buck, and really not really pay proper attention to the real basics. And by the real basics, I'm talking stuff like super effective movement drills that will pattern your movement in a way that when you pick up, when you progress that onto load and you pick up a heavier and heavier barbell or whatever your implement of choice may be, that you move well. And these type of drills like this, we show you and we talk about and we use drills that can actually that facilitate good movement, whether you're on your own, whether you're with a coach, whether you're with a mate. They are some really powerful drills. And alongside that, looking at bracing and breathing. I mean, breathing is the ultimate functional movement, right? It's the ultimate functional thing. What did you do as soon as you come out of the womb? That's the very first thing that you did. You need to do that to function. So it's surprising how many people come on this course, and this isn't a slight on the people that come on the course, but it's surprising, how many people really haven't done themselves justice, both in terms of strength and longevity and everything else, by paying attention to these things. So, we look at systems and drills and cues that are so deep rooted in how the body and the brain interact, and how science interacts with all of that stuff, that that really you can't go wrong with this stuff. From there's a level 2, which is more specifically getting into that, taking these tools and taking these systems and empowering your athletes, and actually using them to coach in your own gyms. And then the level 3, which is a full-on 12 months. So stepping away from this, you're a coach straight away as soon as you go on a cert type thing. It's a full-on intensive 12-month internship stroke mentorship training program. So loads of awesome stuff happening. Come and chat to us about it.
That sounds absolutely awesome. I think people have been looking for something more in depth for a while. I think the CrossFit level 1s that a lot of people go on is a really good kind of gateway. And I think, is it still the rule in the UK all the coaches have to have a reps level 3?
Yeah, I mean, I think there or thereabouts. I think a lot of insurance companies are popping up where that was the big cross before, right? That you couldn't get insurance without having a reps level 2 or level 3. Where now there's a lot of independent insurance companies popping up that will insure based on I guess more relevant qualifications. But CrossFit are doing some cool stuff too with their levels 1, 2, 3, and 4. And starting to really define where you become a coach, and starting to really advance that sort of continual professional development, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think so. I think the more you can learn, the more you can educate yourself. I think it's only once you get in depth that you start seeing those underlying ties between different programs and kind of the real truth behind them, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. It's all down to those connections.
Yeah, so on that note, I'm guessing that before you've kind of figured out how to simplify things down, I'm guessing you've tried probably every program out there. I know a lot of coaches do. We have like programitis, we're constantly jumping, trying them all out.
Human guinea pigs.
Yeah, I know. Historically, I've always switched just as it was working. I decided to do something else that might be better, and I know I've wasted a lot of time doing that. So, do you have kind of any programs or methods that you can vouch for and that you've tried and are true and tested?
You know what? I'm going to give you the worst possible answer to this, the one that you probably want, because I don't have one. And this is because it's something that's very true to my beliefs and the way that I coach. So even throughout the level 1 and the level 2. So for example, in the level 2, we look at elements of the conjugate system. Not West Side, the conjugate system, but that's another story. But we look at elements of the conjugate system, but everything that we're looking at, I'm trying to pass on ways that coaches and athletes can build systems for themselves. So, as opposed to looking at one thing and saying that this is the absolute right way to do things, because, and I mentioned this a lot of times to anyone that's heard this before from me, I'm sorry, because you're going to be a bit bored for the next 20 seconds, but I firmly believe that there's not one right way of doing things. And ironically, anyone that says there's one right way of doing things is incorrect, no matter what they're saying, as far as I'm concerned. So, to empower coaches by enabling them to work out what lies deep down in their fundamental beliefs, building up their own systems of coaching and athletic progression from there. And not only that, but stepping on and moving on into the coaching framework, giving coaches the facilities and the ability to be able to do that for their athletes. I mean, how powerful is that? If you can really if you can help your athlete, someone that comes into the gym, whether they're experienced or not, if you can help them make these connections that we talk about, if you can help them work out deep down what the hell it is they really want, then you have done something for them or help them to do something that goes far beyond physical activity, right?
Yeah, that sounds,
everything they do then within the gym is connected with this stuff. All your coaching, all your cues, everything that you give them, you can. I mean, it's kind of like voodoo, right? You can root in something so deep that they are bought into what you're saying, because you've actually connected it to what's happening deep down in their psyche. And that might sound really deep, but you can build systems. You can build systems around this and actually work out what this looks like in a gym setting. So what looking at this deep down psyche and believing in whatever, like max strength or longevity or carryover or whatever else your fundamental beliefs are, what does that look like when you're coaching a bench press or a squat or a push-up? And so we bridge that gap between these deep beliefs and what that looks like on the gym floor. So yeah, it's a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, that sounds so cool. I think
what was the original question again? Oh yeah, do I believe in a system? So hopefully that will answer it for you.
Yeah, so it sounds kind of like the Jeet Kune Do of training there.
Something like that.
Yeah. So it looks like you like to kind of, because your system, you think that probably the best system is no system. Do you think that there should be a definite difference between coaching?
Let me just add to that.
Sorry.
I would probably say that the best system is your system rather than no system, if that makes sense. So the best system is building up like a learning to build a system and learning, because a system as well, what your beliefs aren't going to be static, are they? They're going to change as you progress. You're going to work out that I was wrong 5 years ago on a whole bunch of stuff. So, but if you're continually building your own systems, then you can't be wrong, because it's your system. Sorry, James, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, go for it. Yeah, I think personally, I think when I was 20, I was sure of a lot more things than I am now.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, I think I went through a cage.
Now I'm a lot less sure about a lot of stuff. Yep.
Yeah. I started like questioning everything, and I was like, damn, like, do I even know anything? And I'm like, wait. No, I definitely know more than I did 5 years ago. I've definitely learned something.
But you know what? the cool part of that is of what you just said there. I feel is the questioning mindset, and it ties back to what I was saying before, because that's something that I ask of anyone that comes on the courses. I'm constantly asking them to challenge what I'm saying, because because of this belief that there's no there are no absolute truth. And so if they build this questioning mindset, I mean, how did science, what science, at the end of the day, the science is built through the scientific method, which is making an observation, then questioning that, then working out whether your question was actually correct or not, and then refining it from there. So that questioning mindset is the way we build our systems, right? So that mindset you had when you were 20 and you were like, hey, you know what, is this actually true or not? That's a pretty cool mindset.
All right, cool. So I think we covered quite a lot in training now. Do you have any kind of favorite diets or kind of approaches to helping people lose weight, gain weight that you think kind of work well for a lot of people, or do you try and individualize that as well?
I think you can probably see the way this is going, right? So yeah, absolutely. And like you said, I've been a human guinea pig, tried, all sorts of stuff. If you're looking at the CrossFit stuff, paleo zone, everything in between, liquid diets, you name it, I've tried it. But yeah, I think, you've got the paleo, you've got like if it fits your macros and all this kind of stuff. And I think it has to be if it fits your life. Right. They're just, there's no other way of doing it. And whatever that is, I was at, going back to this guy, Daryl Edwards, I was speaking at a Health Unplugged summit last year. And there's one again this year, by the way, I think in October, another shameless plug. And that's like a paleo primal type summit. And we had a teleconference with Rob Wolf. Now, for those that aren't familiar who Rob Wolf is, he's pretty much the go-to CrossFit paleo guy, would you say?
Yeah, Rob's a big name. He's been around for a long time. Yeah,
he's been around, for a very long time. Totally legit. And there was a video conference. He was a bit grumpy because it was like at 3 or 4 in the morning or something like that. And they took questions from the floor, and one of the questions was something, and I'm paraphrasing here, but one of the questions was, what do you think needs to be done to kind of bring paleo mainstream, to advance paleo within the community, or whatever? You get the idea. And Rob's answer was basically for the hardcore paleo community to stop being so over about it. And I think he used stronger words than that, which I probably shouldn't repeat on a podcast. But that focus of, hey, you know what, like doing something super strict and adhering to it, that strictly by the book as such, in quotes, isn't for everyone, and it's got to be something that works for you, works for your life. It's like the programming, right? The best program isn't necessarily the one that's going to give you the ultimate fitness or the ultimate strength or whatever. It's the one that you're going to be able to commit to consistently, right? So I don't profess to be any nutrition expert or anything like that. All I know is that your nutrition too has to be deep rooted in your belief system. It has to be part of that. It can't be an outlier with everything else that you believe in. It has to be rooted in the same beliefs as your strength training is, as your fitness training is, as your life is. And then once you've got that and getting it to work for you rather than you working for it, then you're sorted.
Yeah, I'm actually. I think when we first found CrossFit back in the days, it wasn't as mainstream as it is now. And I remember seeing it as functional fitness in general kind of came onto the scene, and it was like a big middle finger up at the establishment of bodybuilding and then the diet that came with it. They were saying, oh, it's okay to eat fat, it's very healthy, and it was very kind of like punk rock, and I think that kind of drew people into it.
Underground or alternate or whatever.
But I think the real value that's had coming into 2015 is that we're aware that there's somewhere in the middle actually between those, and not all assistant exercises are evil, and not all carbs are evil. A lot of people do really, really well with a lot of starch in their diet.
Right.
And I think I kind of see CrossFit and functional fitness in general we swung all the way one way, and now we're just kind of and it's probably going to swing the other way, and eventually we'll find a happy medium.
Or there'll just be a whole bunch of extremists.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah. Because of the internet, I think that's probably right. We'll probably split off into loads of faction groups that are like, your type of paleo has something ever so slightly different that I can't stand.
A Facebook group for everyone, right?
Yeah, and your slightly lower bar back squat. Not low bar, but slightly lower, or maybe a slightly high bar back squat is you're evil and I can't talk to you.
And do you know what? Like all this as well ties into the stuff we do with Breaking Muscle UK, because the observation that we get the most is, hey, your article about back squats this week didn't agree with your article about back squats the last week. But that's exactly because, we're not trying to dictate. We're trying to provide this impartial resource that you can then look at this stuff, ask questions. We've got forums that you can go onto and ask questions of the writers themselves, really pick their brains and form your own conclusions. And that's really what it's about. Just being able to, there's enough places out there that give you this absolute truth approach. But there's not so many places out there that are truly impartial with good quality writing, and that a wide mix of topics, and you can just literally delve in and work this stuff out for yourself, and that's what we're.
All right, cool. So last thing we're going to talk about is, are there any kind of tools that you use to help coaches or help clients? I know a lot of people are using things like Coach's Eye, MyFitnessPal. I know a few people have delved into using heart rate variability monitors. Do you use any of those things, or are you more on qualitative data over quantitative, or probably somewhere in the middle, seems like?
Yeah, definitely somewhere in the middle. And, a lot of, if you, in terms of programming systems, looking at my fundamental beliefs of empowering the coach and empowering the athletes, my programming systems are built around auto-regulation. So, the use of the rate of perceived exertion, the use of velocity-based training, for example, heart rate variability definitely ties into that. At the moment, I can't say I'm doing much more than dabbling with heart rate variability and velocity-based training. So again, I don't profess to be any kind of expert on these things, but just in the stage of kind of working out what it's all about, as I think many coaches and athletes are, and then not just talking about it and coaching it and using it for the sake of using it, but using it in a way that ties in a deep way to what we do and what we believe in, and empowers the athlete as much as possible, which is what we're trying to do here at the end of the day.
All right, thanks a lot, dude. Just before we go, can you give us a quick recap of your brands that you're attached to, websites, Twitter handles, Facebook, Instagram, where people can come and pester you for more information?
Yeah, definitely. It'll be a pleasure. So let's start with Strength Education then. So the website is strengtheducation.com. If you go to it right now, depending on when this podcast is taken out there to the general public, it may just look like a holding page, or it may be a fully fledged website because it's currently being built. But in any case, what you'll be able to do is put your email address down there, and that will be the very best way of keeping up to date with all the courses, just getting some cool coaching information, and just being part of the family, really. In terms of Facebook, just search up Strength Education. I think it's facebook.com/Strength Education. Twitter is strength_ed. Instagram, Strength Education. But just head to the website, chuck your email down. That's by far the best way of keeping in touch. There's if you want to email, do you mind if I give out a quick email for?
Yeah, of course, man. Yeah, go for it.
So courses, just the word courses at strengtheducation.com. We'll put you in touch with the team. We'll get back to you right away to answer any of your questions as well. Breaking Muscle. So best thing to do, what it's all about is heading to the website. So the website is breakingmuscle.co.uk. Head over there, browse, use the search facility. We've got tons of incredible information, videos, workouts, all sorts of stuff on there. And you can search us up on Facebook as well as probably the next base place to go, Breaking Muscle UK. So A lot of people kind of use Facebook as their Breaking Muscle UK, but really, like, we put out articles daily, but there's so much more than that. So just really head in there, dig about, see what you can find, go and ask some questions in the forums. I mean, this is your thing, like we said. Anything else? It's probably pretty much enough social mediaing for people to be getting on with, right?
Yeah, I think you're good. So, any last thoughts before you go? Put you on the spot now.
I think, yeah, like a piece of advice, like a next step. What do you want to hear?
Okay, how about this one? If you can give one piece of training advice to hit as many people and affect them as best you can, what is it? Okay,
I'll have to tie that into. You know what? I should really think about this question more, because it's such a common and good question. But I think just to tie that back into everything that we're talking about, take some time to really dig down into what's important to you, because otherwise you'll kind of do what me and you and probably most people do, which is kind of shove goals in front of your coach, or just be like, right, I want a 200 kg deadlift, or I want to do this, and probably try to do a whole bunch of these things simultaneously, and get yourself into a bit of a pickle. But if you can start to think in terms of these systems, and start to think in terms of what your fundamental beliefs are, and talk to your coach about this, because a good coach, obviously one that's been on the strength education courses, right, to help you with this. And there's this is a slightly longer answer than you expected probably, but there's something that I put out recently, and actually Dan John picked up on it and put it in his weekly newsletter. And it said something like this: so a bad coach will give you what you want, a good coach will give you what you need, and a great coach will get you to want what you need. So if you have, a support team like that in your life, if you have people that you can turn to and start to actually work out really like where your fundamental beliefs are coming from, then talk to them, just bounce ideas off them, build that up. And then once you have those things in place, everything else will just become so easy, because everything else can be related back to it. You can be looking at programs on the internet, and because you realize what matters to you, you can then look at one program and say, you know what, that's rubbish, because that doesn't, that's not going to give me the longevity that I'm looking for. Or, you can look at another program and you can say, well, that's going to make me really strong, but it's not going to make me fast. And I kind of want to be good at all this stuff. So it becomes like, it makes these decision-making processes, what are you going to do in the gym, what programs you're going to choose, and all that kind of stuff really easy. So to sum that up, I would say, don't just jump into stuff, actually start to think and use the guys around you. Come on a course, a strength education level 1 course, and work out what the hell is going on. So that's my final words.
All right, thanks a lot for joining us today, Chet. Sorry. Yeah, great talking to you, and hopefully I'll catch up with you again soon.
Definitely at the July event. Thanks very much, yes. James. It really was a pleasure chatting to you. Thank you very much for having me on.
All right, talk soon. Bye.
Cheers.